Hey, snippy, snacky Mr. Crock. Yes, that's me. One morning, Mr. Crock woke up in a very bad mood. He had toothache. I know. He thought and opened his mouth wide. I'll ask someone to look inside my mouth and pull out my sore tooth. He 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 he. The first animal Mr. Croc met was a fish. I have toothache. Please swim inside my mouth and pull out my sore tooth, said Mr. Croc. So the fish swam into the Mr. Croc's mouth to help, but Mr. Croc couldn't resist and gobbled the fish up. Next, Mr. Croc met a frog. I have toothache. Please hop inside my mouth and pull out my sore tooth, said Mr. Croc. So the frog hopped into the Mr. Croc mouth to help, but Mr. Croc couldn't resist and gobbled the frog up. Then Mr. Croc met a bird. I have a toothache. Please fly inside my mouth and pull out my sore tooth, said Mr. Croc. So the bird flew into the Mr. Croc mouth to help, but Mr. Croc couldn't resist and gobbled the bird up. Soon Mr. Croc met a warthog. I have toothache. Please trot inside my mouth and pull out my sore tooth, said Mr. Croc. So the warthog trotted into the Mr. Croc's mouth to help, but Mr. Croc couldn't resist and gobbled the warthog up. Suddenly Mr. Croc saw a zebra. Hey, zebra, I have toothache. Please step inside my mouth and pull out my sore tooth, said Mr. Croc. So the zebra stepped into the Mr. Croc mouth to help, but Mr. Croc couldn't resist and gobbled the zebra up. Mr. Croc looked around. There were no animals left. Oh dear! Every time someone goes into my mouth to help, I hit them. Mr. Croc tummy started to feel a little strange. It's groaned and creaked and squeaked and rumbled. Suddenly, Mr. Croc let out a huge burp, and all of the animals popped out of his mouth. They were not very happy with Mr. Croc for eating them. My tooth still hurts. I should have let the animals help me instead of being so greedy. Bye bye. Next time I will not be so greedy.